Who's opening what?
Oh,
I'm
Shannon's
opening my non-sandwich.
her mystery meal. I'm gonna call it a mystery meal in theme.
You're one of those people at the movies that, like, as soon as the lights go down.
I love that I waited until you hit record, though. We were on this Zoom for 15 minutes before we started, and I was like, you know what's the perfect time to do this? Right now.
That's why you're killing it. You're killing it.
Nothing but professionals on this show.
You're the pro. You're the pro.
Oh man, another week.
Another week. Another meal. We're still here. We're still kicking.
Meal. Yeah.
Another last meal. Yeah. Death row. Sometimes it feels like it.
It's on my lap. It's moved to my lap. I'm looking at it.
No one would choose this though on death row. You know how like on death row your meal's going to be like a bucket of KFC chicken. Not to naysay the Nancy Drew cookbook, but like it's going to be something better than.
Just the law of averages. Somebody in the world who was about to be put to death has to have ordered something that just happened to be in the Nancy Drew cookbook, just by law of averages. You know what I mean?
They would have had, they're all very specific though. So they would have had to like ask someone to specifically make it because they all have like pimentos and parsley. I don't think they show up in a lot of last meals on death row. I could be wrong.
You know what I really want before I do the gas chamber? Parsley.
There was a blog, famous last meals or something, and it's all the death row. They like took pictures of what the inmates requested as their last meal, and one was just like a single olive with the pit inside. And I was like, whoa, that's too scary for me.
Okay, that's a sociopath. That person was absolutely a sociopath. And well, proven correct.
Yeah. Wow, from Nancy Drew to death row. Here we go.
That was a good week. Connect the dots, everybody. Connect the dots.
Well, people get murdered in those books, right?
That they get murdered. A lot of like mystery, a lot of things are burglared.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of stolen necklaces. They find like buried treasure a lot. I'm sure people, it's a kid's book, so I don't think there's much murder happening. I haven't read of anyone being murdered yet, and I'm rereading them, so like I'm like 14 in. It could get crazy. It could get crazy after this.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, as long as there's no gay characters in it, because then it would be banned in 48 states. So
oh my God.
Murder's fine. But God forbid one of those guys is gay.
They're all gay. All of the Nancy Drew characters are gay. Spoilers.
Big old lesbian Nancy Drew.
She was all they talk about are her pantsuits and how beautiful she is. Like I was like,
she's absolutely.
Yeah. Is this helping women or hurting women? Like when I'm rereading it as an adult, I'm like, great, that's okay. They're like, Nancy Drew's so beautiful. Like they just keep commenting on her looks, and I'm like, okay, all right. Like maybe we could just do without it. I don't know.
Objectifying Nancy Drew. That would be a great that would be a great college course for like extra credit.
That's a documentary waiting to happen.
Ooh,
can we produce this?
Stay tuned for our next podcast, Objectifying Nancy Drew.
So much to unpack there too. So much.
You know who can help us unpack some of that?
Oh, who?
Our guest for tonight. Yeah. You know him, you love him. He's not only is he a director, he's a producer, he's a coach, he's a storyteller, he's a performer, but most importantly, and the reason why he's here, he's Philly's leading expert on breakfast sandwiches. Folks, please help us welcome to the show. Neil Bardhan is here.
Welcome, Neil.
Hey.
Hello.
What an intro.
I know, right?
Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay?
No. Absolutely not.
I mean, we're hosting you on a podcast where we're eating whatever. We'll reveal it soon. But you know,
Neil, what are your thoughts about death row food, last meals?
I mean, I've had a lot of thoughts about what my own last meal could be, given you know,
Really?
like the range of. I don't have a good answer for it. I've just given it a lot of thought, which speaks to my anxieties. A real, maybe too real understanding I have is like, why are so many death row meals like fast food? And it's because the prison is out in the middle of nowhere. Like all there is like a KFC 10 miles away and a McDonald's like 20 miles away, which is like, it feels very American about all of it. It's like, well, it's convenient to us.
Yeah,
might as well throw it in there at the last minute because that's all we got. But I don't know. I feel like Jesus had a better Last Supper than a lot of people.
Yeah,
himself.
He was right. No, I'm not going to even go there because this is a Nancy Drew podcast. I could say some stuff.
Wait, Neil, you wouldn't put McDonald's French fries on your last meal bucket list? I find that highly unlikely.
The question is, does a McDonald's milkshake travel well to my location? Because if so, then I can dip the fries in it and we're good. If it doesn't travel well, we got a problem.
That's very smart, forward thinking. Hopefully none of us will ever be in this situation. Fingers crossed.
I think my last meal would be something like carb heavy, like pasta or lasagna or something. Because then I get sleepy, I fall asleep, I don't even know I'm dead.
That's smart. Ooh. Mine would probably be like pizza topped with nachos, like all of my favorite foods in one place.
Oh,
and then you're just like, mic drop, I'm out.
Well, your heart might explode anyway.
See, that's what you want, though. It's what you want.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about Arby's.
Ooh, do you like Arby's?
Really
Sorry, I just say that sometimes. But here it's relevant. Arby's, as a kid, I used to love it. I could eat it. And then, you know, I hit 18, 20, and all of a sudden I was like, this is delicious, but boy, this does not feel good. And I haven't gone back in a while, but it's tempting to tempt fate, you know, give it another try.
Do you like that horsey sauce on there? The horsey sauce?
No, I'm all about just like Arby sauce dripping down my arm.
I know I've said this before, but we always drive past Burger King, and one of the things I miss, because we haven't had like fast food in years, and I'm sure if we had it, our bodies would immediately reject it. But every time I drive past Burger King, I'm like, I really want a Whopper Jr. and onion rings and a large Coke, because I used to have that, and it just hit all the right parts of my tongue when I ate it, and it was so delicious. And like, God help me, I would do it again. I would do it again. If I wasn't supervised, I would drive to Burger King and do it again, knowing that it would destroy my body, my 47-year-old body.
Could be your last meal.
It would be my last meal.
And circle complete.
There we are.
So good.
Nailed it. That's why we're all improvisers. Could I ask a question of Neil? How did you become the premier breakfast sandwich connoisseur of Philadelphia? For our viewers who don't know.
Right. I mean, there's several answers to this. One is I gave myself the title and nobody has disputed it. Mm-hmm. That's an important factor, I think. Another is the kind of the more linear route is 8 or 9 years ago, I just like realized I liked breakfast sandwiches and wanted to eat more of them. And I posted on Facebook and I just said, hey, Philly friends, what are some good breakfast sandwiches I should eat? And it was the kind of post that within like 3 minutes, people were like, let me tell you my opinions. And I was like, oh, I got a whole mess of options to start eating. And I put them on a Google map that I was making so that I could keep track of them. A couple of years later, I gave a talk to a room of 300 people at Johnny Brenda's about it, which got like picked up in the media. My parents were very proud of it. Then I wrote an article for the Enquirer with my 11 top breakfast sandwiches in the area. And so now I'm literally a professional breakfast sandwich writer, which...
I love it.
Living the dream.
Yeah. You have to manifest those things, and you did it. You did it.
Way to do it. What, since I'm speaking to the breakfast sandwich expert, What is one ingredient that could ruin an otherwise perfectly good breakfast sandwich? Because I have one in my head, but I want to see what you.
Olives.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Nobody's doing it, but I'm sure it's would ruin it.
Well, let me addendum. What ingredient that you could find on a breakfast sandwich would ruin it if there was too much of it, or like too little?
Yeah. I think the wrong kind of sliced tomato could mess it up.
Oh,
right. I feel like that's the thing somebody's going to try, and it's like if it's out of season, if it's mushy, if it's too watery, you're just like, ooh.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think it's too much cheese.
Too much cheese. I would say that's rarely a problem.
Well, yeah, you're not ordering from where I'm ordering, because inevitably, if it's an omelet or if it's some kind of breakfast sandwich, I have to say no cheese, because I'm not going to name names, but if I say yes, just leave cheese on it, it's like they put a whole half of like a round of cheese on it, and then it just drowns everything else out, and I hate it. And it's not good cheese. It's like the stringy, like weird, it's not good, like quality cheese.
There's a related problem in my household, which is we'll go to a diner, we'll order like scrambled eggs with cheese, thing Kelsey, my wife, and I both like. And you it doesn't matter how you explain it. They'll just be like, oh, they made scrambled eggs and then dropped a slice of cheese on top and then brought it out to you. And you're like, what? If I say scrambled with cheese, why would you scramble it and then with the cheese? Like, scramble it with cheese. Nobody wants a layer of cheese unmelted, undealt with, just lying on top of the cheese. Just don't bother then.
Yeah, no, that's the worst. I've been there. Not great.
Did I cook that for you? If so, I apologize.
Shannon, how many diners do you work at?
All of them.
This explains why I never see you eating at a diner. You're too busy cooking in all of them.
The big reveal.
Now I can only picture Shannon with a giant spatula and like a handkerchief on her head, like screaming at somebody. No, he didn't pay his bill yet.
Oh,
Get out of here.
I haven't making up diner food names.
Oh my God.
I haven't watched the Gilmore Girls reboot, but I'd now like to believe that in Luke's diner, Caesar is gone and it's just Shannon.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect.
Equally cranky. We try to out-crank each other.
The Bear, starring Shannon DeVito.
Yes, chef.
I do love Chicago. If you're listening, FX. Is that what channel it's on? Yeah.
Yeah. And also Guy Fieri, if you're listening, you should do a spin-off of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with just Shannon cooking in every diner for us.
Every place offers Shannon sauce and it's just ketchup, but she calls it Shannon sauce.
You know, you're not far off.
Shannon sauce better be how you make millions, Shannon. Like, you better.
But I just squeeze like Sweet Baby Ray's into like an empty container. And then with a Sharpie, I write Shannon sauce on it.
And it's just like a picture of your face in like a chef's hat or something stupid. Oh.
How long before you would feel guilty? Like, what if somebody from like Japan came over? Like, we just came here for the Shannon sauce. We spent our life savings to meet you and try Shannon. It's just ketchup.
Nah.
Worth it.
No problems whatsoever.
You're welcome for the greatest trip you've ever made.
The sauce is very good.
Would you like some chicken fingers with it? Because if so, not a problem.
It's an experience, not a problem.
Scrambled eggs with cheese, though, you're going to have a hard time.
Don't ask for it.
What if they put a layer of Shannon sauce under the cold cheese and then plopped it on top?
That's the true experience.
That's the Shannon sauce experience.
Yeah.
It's like Hershey's Chocolate World. I hope one day you're like rich enough to have like a ride that's just like through the Shannon sauce experience.
And I'm sorry, are we on a boat in a river of Shannon sauce?
It's like,
Obviously.
yeah, it's like a Willy Wonka. It's that scene.
Yeah.
It's
Just
just
Shannon's faces are just nightmare coming from a tunnel. Yeah, we haven't veered off at all, have we?
no, this is going very well.
Great.
What did you have to make today?
Today we had to make Larkspur Lane Sandwiches based off the book that has no sandwiches in it. Password to Larkspur Lane.
Oh,
sandwiches in it? What the hell is happening here?
No, all of the recipes, fun fact, are either named after a character in Nancy Drew or one of the books.
The food doesn't show up in aforementioned book?
Not this particular sandwich, nor I don't think any sandwiches show up in that one. Sometimes they'll mention a dessert.
It's a bad book.
I don't know what this cookbook is. It's a wild ride, this cookbook, but basically the only connection is that Carolyn Keene wrote it, apparently. And then it's named after, like, it's a Mirror Bay triple decker because it's like Mystery of Mirror Bay. It's like Bess's Secret Chocolate Waffles because Bess is her friend or cousin maybe.
Not friend. They're not friendly at all.
Yeah, they hate each other. No, so they were really not creative with the titles, but it's a Nancy Drew cookbook, so
I feel like then they're creative with the inspiration, right? They're like, oh, we gotta find a name for this sandwich that definitely needed to be made.
Yeah, but like Larkspur Lane sandwich, like Larkspur Lane, like something that began with an L, like they could have alliterated it, right?
Larkspur Lane Loaf or something like that.
Yeah, like Lane Loaf or because like Mapleton Milkshake, that spills off the lips, but
spills. That's what they say.
Yeah, spills. You know, I'm from Delco. We just had a conversation before this. Anything I say, take it with a grain of
milkshake. Grain of milkshake, as they say in Delco.
Yeah.
Copyright Nifty 50s.
A grain of panko. So our sandwiches today are made with 4 whole ingredients. We got our white bread. We got our butter. We got our crystallized or preserved ginger, which I didn't know existed till today. And our orange marmalade. So those are our 4 ingredients.
And if you thought that those ingredients didn't go together well, you're right.
See, they had me at bread and butter, and then I was like, here we go. And you have to cut the crust off the bread in order to make it a Larkspur Lane sandwich. This cookbook is for kids, and I've never met a kid who would ask for ginger preserve, but here we are. So we're gonna see what happens.
Probably a kid that says, "Mommy,
we're all gonna eat this thing now."
Yeah, I say we dig in.
God, I have so much to say before I even eat.
I know Neil chose a sandwich because he's the king of sandwiches, and he regretted it immediately. Because here's the thing about this cookbook: if it's called a sandwich, it's probably not a sandwich.
Right.
Oh God, your faces.
This looks like a face that's enjoying.
It tastes like floor polish.
It tastes like what?
It tastes like floor polish.
It kind of has a hint of like the ginger gives it like a toothpastey, but like you can't place it. So we're eating a toothpaste and butter sandwich, Shannon, just to bring you into the experience.
It's too many textures.
It is, yeah. The layer of butter tricks you into thinking it'll be good. And
nice and smooth.
Like stringy.
Extra chewing of the ginger.
Oh
my God.
I have to go for it though. Every time I have to eat like a full Ralph, you were right to do a finger sandwich.
I have 2 full sandwiches.
Me too. I'm only gonna eat one, I think, this time.
You should have seen me today. I was standing there with the whole loaf of bread going, how many of these do I really want to subject myself to tonight?
This is a realization I had after I made my 2 sandwiches was, I was supposed to use all of this spread on a full loaf of bread. Maybe I've overfilled the sandwiches.
Did you?
I think anything is overfilling these sandwiches.
I did a thin layer. Like I did and it's still a lot. Like it's still pungent. It's still.
They don't really say what to do with the ginger well, right? Like mine came in chunks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found like a can of the preserve, but they said mix it with the orange marmalade. But like you should have melted it, or there should have been something.
I chopped mine up. I assumed that Nancy Drew didn't shop at Whole Foods, but I'm not really an expert on the franchise, so somebody else can explain that to me later, maybe. What a revelation that would be. Nancy Drew did shop at Whole Foods, Neil, you dumbass.
She does only eat organic foods, so it might. People are gonna come at us. They're gonna be like, "Well, I heard this person's a Nancy Drew expert." And
Ralph's little old lady comes back. How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
First that bucket challenge, and now
First the
attacking
bowl.
Nancy Drew.
First the bowl, and then this.
Although I can picture her walking around Whole Foods in a pantsuit, and everybody, what kind of gorgeous she is. What is she? What is that? Ginger she's buying? Oh, that's weird.
And then she screams, and she's like, oh, "Something is missing!" And there's a mystery in the whole thing.
It's the taste.
Yeah. It's the edibility. To anyone wanting to buy this sandwich. Because could you imagine owning an establishment and putting this on a menu?
No. If I wanted it to close right away, yeah.
Yeah.
My spicy take is this flavor combination could work done right, right? Like a ginger marmalade on buttered toast. Sure.
Ooh, okay.
I can see it working, but not the crystallized ginger, and not in these proportions, and not untoasted bread, you maniac.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, have you ever met a kid that would eat this sandwich? Because I ate everything as a kid, and I would not eat this sandwich.
Wow.
No.
I'm eating the whole thing. I'm going to do it. This is my food challenge.
Yeah, I'm doing it because I'm so curious about how bad it is.
Yeah. We need to confirm, with each bite.
Is this where I toss in that I'm in a group chat about jams?
Oh, yeah, please.
I'm in a group chat that is nominally and really mostly focused on the advent calendar from the Bon Moment jam company. It's maybe 20, 25 people. The group is called Ladies Marmalade. I believe I'm the only male person in it.
Oh my God, that is perfect.
When the advent calendar comes out on Amazon, everybody in the group goes nuts and tries to buy like several of them. One person, because they come out in like August, one person in the group bought herself one, and whatever it is, July, August, hid it from herself in her house, and then couldn't find it until January.
Oh, no.
So the rest of us are like playing along at home through Advent, and she's like, somewhere in my house there's a bunch of jams waiting for me in tiny jars.
Well, it's a good thing they're preserved.
exactly But it's like all their like experimental jams, so they're like chestnut, cherry, walnut, banana, and they're like, nobody wants that. They're like blueberry cabernet pickle, like, also nobody wants that.
Wait, are they like, what ratio is good to bad? Because you've done this before, right?
I've done it once.
Okay.
I'd say good to bad is like 1 to 2 to 1.
Okay.
It's doable.
Okay. That's like more for, you gotta experience it, right? Any jam that has like 5 different ingredients.
It's fun, and it's like it's 2 tablespoons of jam. Like, how bad can you live through it? Yeah.
You'll survive.
I'm a fan of unexpected hint of spice in things. So no matter what the combination is, I think there is a little heat on the end of it. I will enjoy that.
Well.
Oh yeah. No, I do also love like a little spice in my jams.
Now, a related question is, what do I do with the rest of my ginger marmalade mixture?
Put it in the toilet and flush it. like it's a dead fish.
It might be like, it kind of looks like it could double as Drano, so it might like clear out something. It is orangey.
Could this clear up my pores?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe we like pawn it off as like a beauty product.
Could be a wax thing.
Yeah.
Like that Friends episode.
Which one?
The one where
All of them.
All of them. They all eat
The one with
wax.
the
There's
one
an
with
episode where they eat wax because Rachel and Ross, shocking, are in a fight and they're in the living room and they can't. So the rest of the like team, the A team, can't come out of the bedroom.
The friends,
and they're hungry, and so they eat this like organic wax, and it's gross. And so, yeah, it's not good.
Is this a real episode or one that you just made up?
This is a real episode. I did not just make this up. I'm not that clever.
That's Shaq's spec script for Friends. She's finally writing spec scripts.
Finally, I'm getting around to it.
I was busy for 20 years.
The gold standard in Hollywood still, right? Friends spec scripts.
Yeah.
You're in.
Posting them to long lost news groups of the 90s.
Oh my
You're
God.
going places, kid.
Yeah.
I know, because like I was listening to another podcast and a celebrity was like, I bought Matthew Perry's old house. And I was like, how much money did that Matthew Perry has like the biggest mansion in LA? It's like
A lot. They didn't even have to write their own jokes.
Yeah, it's crazy. They just had to be friends, you know?
Trying to come back up. I forced it back down.
I keep eating it and like I'm still gonna be able to taste this for a good 2 hours. Like,
I'm not sure I like marmalade.
yeah, me neither. Do you have a favorite jam?
Advent calendar jam. No, so none of the ones that came through the calendar were really that exciting.
Okay.
I like, this just sounds so pretentious, fig jam. I love a fig jam.
Fig jam's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a berry. I like a strawberry. Very basic.
Yeah.
One of the hints for Nancy said you could substitute lemon preserve to make it more tart.
Oh yeah.
No, thank you.
Would that have helped?
I don't think so. I think it would have been equally as bad. Like, I don't think there would have been any difference.
I think it would have tasted more like cleaning product then.
Yeah, it would.
Honestly, yeah, it would have been Lysol-y for sure.
I'm sure if somebody really enjoys orange marmalade, like they would have really enjoyed that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as if you put a small ratio, like a small
Just a
portion of
thin.
ginger, yeah, and then double up on the orange, it might be okay.
I was also thinking if this was part of like a baking recipe, like where if I was baking a little tart or something and I used those ingredients, I would have like, oh, this is probably going to taste wonderful when it's done. Not just raw on a piece of white bread, not even toasted.
Not even toasted.
That is the thing about it, because the bread is like so fluffy and it's just, and then you get this like weird layer in between. So
Goo and grit.
yeah. You just bite into butter and then the butter tastes like bad stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the whitest sandwich you could make. Untoasted white bread, butter, orange marmalade, and I have some ginger. Let's see how
exotic.
Here, children, eat this.
Yeah.
Shannon, how are your chips ahoy?
Yeah,
better
good.
than ours.
Thank you so much for asking. I did not make this meal because one, I do hate myself, but not that much. And two, my story today is that so my friend was having a very hard time and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make her lunch. And I was like, okay, great, this is gonna go very well. And so I decided to make her grilled cheese. Now, great idea. Excellent choice. However, Shannon decided to make it in the microwave. And so Shannon put bread and cheese in the microwave. And it turns out that's not how you make grilled cheese. It was so gross. And she was so kind. And she bit into it and just immediately spit it out. And I said, oh, it's really bad. And she said, want to go out for lunch? And so that's my story about Shannon's not allowed to make sandwiches.
Although I bet it would be tied with this for worst sandwich. Like,
I'm not sure. We could ask Allison.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm eating Chips Ahoy.
Oh boy.
And they're very good.
I'm jealous. We're all so jealous of you. I think I can speak for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, this would be a treat to make somebody who you loathe, like a neighbor who just keeps you up at night with like loud music and barking dogs. You could bring them a basket of sandwiches. Be like, you know what? We got off on the wrong foot. I made these sandwiches for you all. Have fun.
Enjoy.
Or like family members who you don't want to come out, like you don't want them to come over to your house a lot. You just put these out, and that's all. That's the only option.
After 2 visits, they're just like, every time we come, they make this sandwich. That's what we're doing.
And then they start bringing their own bags of like Arby's and Burger King, and then and you're like, oh, it didn't work. All right, should we get into these old questions of ours?
Yes.
Ooh.
Shall we? Come on.
Lightning round.
The world famous Cookbook Obscura. Wait. The world famous Cookbook Obscura quiz questionnaire. God damn.
We're pros here.
There's a reason I didn't intro you today, Neil. And this is why.
We'll fix it.
Anyway.
We'll fix it in post.
We're doing it live. Okay. If you were a cereal, Neil, what cereal would you be?
Berry Kicks.
Ooh.
Do you want an explanation? I mean, I answered the question that was asked of me.
You did. You're correct. That's on me. And why?
Glad you asked. Thank you. I'm a product of the 80s and 90s. I'm kid tested, mother approved. I'm mostly wholesome, but I seem fun.
That's perfect.
Great answer.
Thank you.
I love it.
I'm not a Kix expert. Do they cut the roof of your mouth like some cereals do?
They can.
I think they have in my past, for sure.
I think the berries specifically do. The Kicks themselves less likely to.
Yeah.
They get very soggy, so I'm gonna say.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm always on the lookout for.
The berries can be a little jagged, you know?
You only eat cereal like that.
That's what he's aiming for. Ralph loves a cereal that cuts up his mouth. Will not eat Burger King though, because it's bad for his body.
But shards of glass O's.
But you can't follow the logic? Come on, people. All right. How about this question, Neil? What is your best food memory?
I have a sort of a high and a low answer for this.
Oh, okay.
If I can give two, and I will.
Yes.
The high was a one-time thing. The low was a many times thing. I'll start with the low. When I was a kid, I used to spend time at a babysitter's house. Nicole, a French woman, wonderful, very sweet lady, and she would make me toasted whole wheat bread with butter and honey. And I would go through like a loaf a day, probably. I'm 5-6 years old. She would just keep making it and drinking like coffee in her kitchen and smoking cigarettes because it was like 1987. And I would just house those toasts. I wouldn't eat whole wheat bread anywhere else. I think my mother was always just like, I guess it's not honey, but like, what? And I don't remember her making me any other food for the years that I got babysat at her house. But she was like, well, here you go, kid. Here you go. Whatever I was watching on TV, just chomping down on butter, honey, and toast. That's one. The other, so pretentious. It was 2012. I was in Paris for a long weekend.
So you were right.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretentious. I was hanging out with two of my best friends, Chris and Leah. And it was one of those weekends where like we had 80 million things we wanted to do, and most of them were eat cheese. But there was very little other structure built into it. And we discovered that we could get a reservation at a Michelin-starred restaurant called Le Chateaubriand, and like we couldn't get in there until like 10:30 at night, but we're like, fuck it, like let's just do it once. And we drank at, what is it called? What do I call it? Like Harry's, where like Hemingway used to drink in back in the day, and we got too silly there before our dinner, and then we just like spent all the money and ate and drank all the things available at this. But and I don't remember anything specifically about it, but it was just one of those gleeful nights where like I just kept looking at my friends and just being like, this is so much fun, this is so delicious. And every time I see them now, we're like, you know what's really crazy, and I wish we knew more about it, that meal that we had that was so good that they can't remember a thing.
That's so funny, Neil.
Yeah.
It would have been awesome if you ran into the woman who fed you bread and honey butter.
She's working in the kitchen smoking cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. What if your meal that you all loved was only bread and honey? It was just different variations on what you're.
A wine pairing with each of them.
Oh my God, that's so good. You got to go back, maybe a little more sober, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Next question. What is your favorite unsolved mystery?
Here's what comes to mind for this.
Yeah.
DB Cooper, the plane hijacker's briefcase of money. What's happening? What have I done here? Have I broken Aubrey?
It's very easy to break me. We only asked one other person this question, and they answered the same exact thing.
And none of us knew what it was about.
None of us knew what it was.
What did you guys read when you were children? Nancy Drew novels? I was reading all about DB Cooper when I was 8 because
I wish.
They didn't cover that in the Babysitters Club, Neil.
In the new Netflix series, they do, weirdly enough.
Weirdly, it's all episodes.
Maybe he's in like the 28th book. Maybe that's where I get introduced to DB Cooper.
In the back of the cookbook, it's DB Cooper's briefcase full of brownie bites.
And somehow there's marmalade in them too.
And a pimento.
A sprig of parsley. A sprig of parsley.
What attracted you to DB Cooper's mystery? Is it just like because you've read it your whole life, or what part of it fascinates you?
Part that fascinates me is it's the kind of story that there seems to be an update every 18 to 30 months or so, where they're like, oh, somebody else has declared that they were DB Cooper on their deathbed, and obviously they couldn't all have been DB Cooper. And I get the sense that at the rate we're going, it's just never going to be solved.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild. That whole story is wild to me.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes again for this one.
Once again, everybody.
When I was a kid, in addition to my toast eating, I was a regular at the public library, and I used to pore over this book. It was a Reader's Digest compilation, Mysteries of the Unexplained. It was like a coffee table sized, not coffee table sized book. How incredible would that be? A coffee table book. And for years, I thought about that book as like, if I wanted one thing on a desert island, it would be that book, just because it contained hundreds of like wacky stories. And then one day I walked into an antique store somewhere, and it was like for $5, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I've never purchased anything so much faster, because I was like, this is the book that I want to have on my literal coffee table as an adult.
That's amazing, Neil. It found you.
It found me.
It's like serendipity.
Like DB Cooper.
Like DB Cooper. Maybe. All right, who's in that movie? All right, I'm going to ask you another question.
John Cusack.
What is your favorite family recipe or dish your family always made?
It's my mother's banana bread recipe.
Ooh.
I've been making it on my own for 20 something years now. She's been making it for a good 40 years or so. You know, something she's always made. I have friends that feel like they grew up on it. I have my friends' kids know it as Neil's banana bread. And here's a fun plug. If you go to Target, only Target, and you buy the Noom book, Noom, the weight loss thing, right? The Target edition has several recipes in the back, one of which is Neil's banana bread.
Shut up.
What?
Really?
How did that happen?
My friend is the editor of the book, and
Shut up.
looked through like, oh, we need some recipes. Looked at my recipe as like a thing that's been in her Gmail for 20 years now, and she was like, I can do something with this. Noomified it or whatever. I haven't read it that closely, but like the way I make the recipes, like there's enough flexibilities with it. That you're like, oh, you can sub in this, you can sub in that. And nothing has delighted my mother more than when I came home recently and was like, Mom, let me show you something. It was like, here is a book. Flip to page 256 or whatever. And she was just like, what is happening here?
What?
Amazing, Neil.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look in every Target for this.
Yeah, it's around, and I can give you the original recipe as well. It's one of those things I've made like 300, 400 times easily.
That's amazing.
We might have to put that recipe in the show notes.
Yeah, fair game.
Now that it's at Target, I feel like that's safe.
Yeah.
It's out in the world now.
So if you want to lose weight, you can just make banana
Just
bread.
eat my banana bread.
Right.
I don't think that's what the book is trying to tell you, but that's what this
what I
podcast
got
is
out of
telling it. Yeah.
You heard it here, guys.
Believe us, not the Noom.
The Noom diet is you can eat all the banana bread you want.
Also, all the marmalade you want, which is not much, it turns out.
No.
I keep eating it because I didn't eat dinner. This was my dinner.
Yeah, that no. Ugh.
Okay.
All right, word problem for you. So put your thinking hats on, everybody. Gonna take you on a journey. Picture it. United States is going through a new renaissance. Cities and towns all over the country are becoming utopias for all. Federal government is reshaping itself as well, and they're searching for a new leader. Why would Guy Fieri be the man for the job?
I think he appeals to a very broad cut of Americans. Right? I think his approach, his main interests of grocery, games, driver, and shirts, and hair,
There it is.
and cars. I mean, like, what else? What else could you want but French fries and hair?
Yeah.
But not together.
Not together, no, because that's Shannon sauce.
Thank you.
Hair and fries.
Hair and fries.
I know we poke fun at Guy Fieri, but he is actually like a philanthropist. Like he
does a lot of good.
He does a lot of good things in the world. I think
Yeah.
I think that's why we good-naturedly poke fun at him. But he's like he would be a really good person to lead us out of whatever catastrophes headed our way.
Yeah. I mean, and his clothing choices are like they make a bold statement too. So like you need that.
I'd vote for him.
I'd vote for him in a heartbeat.
Did you?
I voted for him yesterday.
Oh wow, you wrote in
For the mayor.
I won't say for what. I don't want to get controversial here.
Fair. Yeah, we don't want to bring that upon you.
This isn't Flavor Town.
Wow, we are careening towards the end of this episode. So
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Imagine. Neil, hopefully you don't hate us too much after this episode, but is there anything you would want to plug? This is your opportunity. Where can people find you? Read all about your delicious sandwiches.
Yeah, if you want to see me live and in person performing comedy, I'm with the N Crowd sometimes across the Philadelphia region, I should say. If you want to read about what I'm reading and what I'm eating and nostalgia for my childhood, you can read my newsletter, which is tinyletter.com/Neil P Bardhan. That's middle initial P as in Peter. I think that, every 2 months or so, It's a nice breezy read over coffee, you know.
Oh, I'll sign up.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll put all that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any final thoughts? Anybody? Covered a lot of bases tonight.
Yeah, I think my final thought about this sandwich is I really wish they told us to toast this bread, because this is a waste of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody tries the recipe,
Right.
toast the bread first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carolyn Keene is long gone, but you messed up.
Why do you think she's long gone, Aubrey?
It's all the untoasted white bread.
All right, I think that's all we have time for tonight. There's nothing else to say about any of this.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back with another episode of Cookbook Obscura soon, and remember to always eat responsibly. Thanks everybody.